I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today for Utility Billing, EBPP, and Self-Serve Portals, a guide to improving customer experience with online portals. Today we have Ram Siva, NorthStar's product specialist, Nicole Haskins, Paymentus's vice president of sales, and I'm your host, Kathy DeGlandon, NorthStar's marketing specialist. A little bit of housekeeping. All lines will be muted during the presentation, but if you have any questions, please submit them in the chat. And we will have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. This webinar will be recorded and be available to attendees afterwards. Today, we will be covering the following topics: customer service, that was then, this is now; how to get paid faster and communicate with your clients where they are; and improve customer experience with self-serve portals. We will also be talking about the digital transformation and how it has affected customer experience, the increased use of self-serve options, and how utility billing customers are paying their bills today. Before we talk about the digital transformation, let's talk about how things used to be. Traditionally, utilities interacted with their customers in one of four ways. Someone could walk in, they could call you on the phone, email your utility, or use snail mail, and you could interact with them that way as well. These interactions were typically limited by your hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So what changed? The COVID pandemic changed the way we do business, and I'm sure it changed the way you interact with your utility billing customers. According to a recent article from McKinsey & Company, COVID vaulted digital adoption 5 years forward in the first 8 weeks of the pandemic. Consumers couldn't walk into a building to interact with a business, so they learned new ways to buy goods and services. As the pandemic continued, consumers used technology for banking, education, healthcare, and buying goods and services, while businesses found ways to provide online and touchless options for consumers to buy goods and services. Now, the report shows that the digital transformation has leaped 7 years forward. What does that mean for your utility? Because the payment infrastructure is undergoing a significant evolution and consumers are becoming more technology savvy, your tried and true collection tactics may no longer work as well as they once did. And your customers want to turn to digital options to pay you online. Utility leaders like yourself across North America are having to redefine their utility customer relationship. What does that mean for you? You and your utility need to rethink your approach to customer service to help it take advantage of the digital transformation and improve customer engagement. There are 5 ways to rethink customer service. First, become an energy partner, not just a service provider. With the global sustainability movement, you can help your customers be conscious energy consumers. With time of use and net metering, utilities have a unique opportunity to work with customers to reach their energy consumption goals. Second, put customer safety and convenience at the top of your agenda. Because more people are working from home and extreme weather is becoming more common, it is important to provide your customers with real-time digital communications so they can stay informed. Third, start creating a two-way dialogue with your utility customer. It used to be that utilities only heard from a customer when there was a problem, or a utility would contact a customer when there was an outage or a bill wasn't paid. Now, two-way communication helps you to improve internal efficiencies and helps your utility meet its own conservation and demand goals. Next, use the customer data to your advantage. With smart metering and customer engagement portal, your utility can now learn more about your customers' consumption patterns. This information will help to improve your operational efficiency and online portal usage while streamlining operations. But most importantly, you need to find ways to use the digital transformation to improve customer service by reaching out to your customers where they live online. Now we'll hear from Nicole Haskins, Vice President of Sales for Paymentus. Nicole, what can you tell us about the digital transformation as an EBPP provider?
Thanks so much. Yeah, I appreciate being here today. It's a very interesting time for payment providers in the United States and in the world. You know, there's absolutely a digital transformation that was supposed to happen. And with COVID and technology initiatives that are around the nation really coming to an adoption head, it happened very, very early. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about what are some things that you can do to embrace the digital adoption. I think one of the points you made around putting convenience at the top of your agenda and creating a focus on digital transformation and a two-way dialogue, it fits well in line with Paymentus's mantra as a company. For over 20 years, we've been serving the industry as an EBPP provider with really one direction. And that one direction was you had to wait for the customer or the citizen to come to you, come to your IVR, come to your website, come to your mobile solution, come to your counter. With COVID, of course, there were some options that they were forced to take advantage of, and a lot of people embraced them. And one of the areas that they also embraced was technology that's bi-directional. So what I mean by that is instead of waiting for the customer to come to you, you can go straight to the customer. And a lot of times, traditionally, we talked about that in the form of outbound communications and letting them know by email or phone or text that their bill is ready. And those are great solutions. They've been around a long time. They're still critical and need to be used. But there's other ways to reach out to the client. I thought that's what we would focus on today. For those of you that don't know Paymentus, this is just a little overview of our next generation platform. And we supplement and complement SilverBlaze and NorthStar's products using components of these pieces, or they can be standalone. However, we treat it like an a la carte menu, meaning you pick and choose as a utility what works best for you and how to implement it in the timing you want with only one vendor to have to deal with. And looking left to right, you're looking at traditional payment methods, and we're going to focus on some of the popular payment methods. And then you're looking at the channels, which are ways to pay. We won't talk today about how it all gets wrapped together in perfect funding and reconciliation in the back office, but I wanted to focus on that digital transformation message and really look at it as there's two sides of a coin when you're dealing with your customer. The first side of the coin is how am I going to serve them and empower them and make them feel that customer satisfaction through that when they come to me at the counter, do I have solutions that meet their needs? When they come to me with my call center staff or IVR or web. And Ram's going to focus on that a little bit more in a few minutes with the SilverBlaze discussion. But there is another side to this coin, and there's really no nice way to say this. And I'm as big a victim of it as everybody, or as guilty of it as everybody, but the average consumer has become very lazy. They generally don't like human-to-human interaction anymore. They really don't feel like they have the time or want to go to a website. They'll do it. They definitely will. A lot of the times because they didn't have choices. And that was the only way to pay a bill or look up a bill or register to go paperless. And so you have to have that one side of the coin that is just stellar, where they come to you and access your user interfaces like SilverBlaze. But dealing with this growing demographic of not just millennials and Gen Zers, and I don't fit in any of those age categories. I'm a little older than that. And I find that in my busy life, I don't have time to go to my biller sites. So Paymentus really wanted to evolve our technology from being a one-sided coin to a two-sided coin. And we said, how do we do that? Well, you can't just put out an app because then people have to download the app. And again, they're a little lazy or they're very busy. There's a positive side to that too. If they download the app, then they have to install the app, access the app, log into the app. Then they have to remember to use the app, and then they have to refresh the app. And if they get a new phone, they have to download it again and do that all again. So apps didn't work very well for serving customers' billing and payment needs. But there are some apps that do exist that people gravitated to, they embraced. And those are the two I want to talk about today. And that really falls under popular payment methods. But what Paymentus did was we exclusively have relationships with PayPal and Amazon that give you access to new payment methods, but also give you new channels. So when we talk about digital transformation, part of it is how are we getting consumers and citizens to use some of these other side of the coin where the technology is dropping right at their doorstep what they need so that they quickly can react. And one way to do it is to minimize the time it takes to complete a transaction by using a digital wallet so that when they check out, they use Venmo, PayPal, PayPal Credit, and you'll see Apple, Google, Amazon Pay. But that's just a button. And they still then had to travel to your user experience to use that button. So if you look in the middle section, we said, all right, let's flip the coin over. Now, because we have these relationships with these vendors, and these are vendors that have millions and millions of users, let's drop at their doorstep information. So you'll see in the middle here, there's something called the PayPal app and Walmart in-store. And we also are going to talk a little bit today about voice assistants and Amazon. And I'm going to share with you some news that is coming out tomorrow as well. So again, we're addressing two sides of the coin. These are the kinds of vendors and technology solutions you need to look for because it allows you to have the standard, they're coming to me and need information, but we also want to go where they are. And where are they? They're in their Outlook email. They're in their Google Mail. They're on their phone buying Christmas presents on Amazon. They're looking at their PayPal as they pay the babysitter or check out how that Autopay subscription went. And because of that, what Paymentus did was we evolved past that one-sided coin and said, now let's embrace the technology that consumers are using every single day. So let's focus on that for a second as we move to the next slide. And I want to talk about why you're seeing Paymentus in the news so much, why these vendors like Amazon and PayPal are partnering with us and Walmart and more to come. And it's really because they want to make their apps, which are getting used and aren't going anywhere. In fact, PayPal has joined the worldwide super app group. And what that means is that their app is used more times a day than any other apps. And you think about your own life, there's things you gravitate to on your smartphone or your tablet. And those are the things that we know that consumers are in. And it's a perfect opportunity then to let them know that their bill is ready, be able to make a payment without them having to go anywhere else, while still getting real-time access and updates into NorthStar, while still serving them through SilverBlaze or CC6 in the web. And you're able to then attack both sides of the coin without any more effort at all. So all of our clients that choose to enable these features, they get some components. And so I'd like to go through Amazon first. And for those of you that aren't aware, Amazon is multifaceted as a company. They have Amazon.com, which is their web product. They have a mobile application called the Amazon Mobile Shopping app. They have Amazon Pay, which is anytime you check out of Amazon, it actually saves that payment method into your digital wallet called Amazon Pay. And they have incentives built around using all of those things. And then they also, of course, have Alexa and Echo and the many devices that are in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of homes across the US and in your car and on your headphones. So Paymentus, when Amazon was looking for a provider to help them provide services that are critical to end consumers, like paying their bills, they chose Paymentus. And we said, well, this is great. We're trying to service that other side of the coin, which for them is 300 million users and growing every day. And if we look at what are this, oh, don't worry, Kathy, I'll tell you when to do the slide. If
Okay.
we look at, some of the stats here, we've got on the previous slide, you've got 91% of users that have used Amazon Pay would use it again. It's as frictionless as PayPal. A lot of them feel comfort and trust and security. If you think about how easy it is to go click, click, buy, that's the power of Amazon. Same power as PayPal, but a different group of consumers at times. So moving to the next slide, what Amazon talks about it as is being the boss of their bills. This is in a press release coming out tomorrow. It's already in production for many customers. And we have 3 different ways we work with Amazon. What you're looking at here is the mobile shopping app, so that when I'm on my cell phone and I want to check out with that dog food or that Christmas gift or that Thanksgiving napkins I bought, I also have the opportunity to see notifications that my bill is ready. And I simply link my account, which is your account number that's in NorthStar for your customers, and I can just pay my bill in the same checkout process that occurs as if I'm shopping. So what became sort of a luxury of a shopping app, they've evolved it in a lot of different areas, but specifically regarding this discussion for bills and for utilities. And in that particular case, that way the end consumer is already using something they have every day. Instead of waiting for that text, email, or phone call to come in saying they're late, if they're in here and they're shopping, they get a notification that their bill is late. And they can pay it right there in the spot without going anywhere else. And it traverses through our APIs as if they made a payment on the web and posts it real time to the NorthStar database. So if we move forward a slide, you kind of ask yourself, well, who would do this? You may not think about you yourself might be a customer of this particular app and this function. And you'd be really surprised because customers are using it all the time right now to pay electric and gas and water bills. They're using it to just view their utility bill, which is coming from data through the API, just like you would display it on the web. They're receiving those notifications and reminders. And the convenience factor for them is growing its adoption tremendously. And even if you yourself wouldn't use it, or you might think my city or utility would never use this, even if 10 people use it, that's 10 less people that you're having to notify or having to service through other ways, and you're growing your customer satisfaction. But the main thing to think about is that this is where the digital transformation is going. There are companies that are only going to focus on the self-service aspect of the customer coming to you. And then there are companies that are going to focus on both sides of the coin. And that is the future of payments. That's why there are companies clamoring very quickly to say, how do I get bills that customers and consumers are having to deal with every day into something that we want them in as an option. So Amazon wants to attract users. And how do they attract users? They give them something to do that is helpful to their everyday lives and mission critical, and also creates loyalty. There's a tremendous amount of loyalty and following with Amazon, and many of us can identify with that. As we look at the next slide, I want to summarize real quickly with Amazon all the ways we do work with them. So if you're a Paymentus client, you have the ability to use all of these services. You can enable Alexa so that anywhere there's an Alexa or Echo device, you simply can talk to her and ask her, when's my bill ready? How much is my bill? And then you can pay your bill. And so what Paymentus did was we said, we'd love to be part of the program. We're the only vendor at this time that is, and we'd love to offer some of these solutions, but we also want access to Alexa. We want to make it so easy to pay and hear that you need to pay that you just can use your voice. So if you're not an Alexa fan or an Echo fan, just understand that 60 million devices are sold every year. Many users get their devices installed in their cars and on their cell phones, and as I mentioned, in their headphones. And they may only use them to play music or check the weather or what's the joke of the day. But the moment that they choose to do more with Alexa, which is what most consumers do, is they find new ways to certainly use Alexa. They get marketing from Amazon, including about the Paymentus products. They have nothing that they need to do. They don't have to download an app. They don't have to download a skill. Every single device that ships from Alexa is backwards compatible and forwards compatible out of the box, native with Paymentus. They can literally open the box and say hello to Alexa and set her up as they normally would, and they can immediately start paying bills. So that's where we said, look, we want great interfaces like what SilverBlaze provides. We want to be a great EVPP partner inside of those self-service solutions, but we've got to find a way to also help the consumer live in the world that they live in every day and drop information and ways to pay and notifications right in those spots. So that's one of our ways we work with Amazon. The second I just mentioned a little bit about, which was paying on the shopping mobile app. And it's just a simple checkout experience, as you see. And the third is obviously using Amazon Pay itself as a button on your website. And I reversed those for this discussion. So even on your self-service site with SilverBlaze, you can have Amazon Pay as an option. So that way that end user using Alexa, not using Alexa, using Amazon shopping app, never have touched it in their life, or they're an avid Amazon Pay user or have benefits and rewards for Amazon Pay, they can see it on your user interfaces. So these are 3 ways we work with Amazon to really address dropping, again, that bill and information right at the consumer's doorstep. And this is a hard thing to think about sometimes because you've given them generally a really well accepted web solution, you're driving adoption, and now we're going to do more. Yes, you have to do more. You have to keep hitting that ceiling of adoption of around 50 and 60% like most utilities have. And the only way to get past it is to address the consumers that are not using it. And it's very odd to understand that the consumers not using it are actually the more savvy, technical, younger generations because they're a little busier, they're a little lazier, they want a little less human-to-human interaction. And so the way to get that adoption up even more is bring it right to their doorstep. I'm going to stop there and go to the next slide and let you guys look a little bit about what your biller benefits are. It's convenience, it's reduction of delinquencies that we're seeing. Obviously, we just talked about customer satisfaction of creating an engaged customer base. And again, there's probably less than 20% of your utility population that doesn't use Amazon. And so it's ready to go. The other great opportunity is that co-marketing. You have Amazon spending money to educate their consumers, which are also your consumers, that they need to pay their bills and they need to pay them on time. And look at all the ways you can pay them. So we're going to switch gears for a second and talk about another side of that coin on that second side, which is called PayPal, and talk about the relationship with PayPal. Very similar in the fact that PayPal is actually the most used digital wallet in the world, 300 million active users, over 100 million in the US, a little less than Amazon, but partly because they also added more brands like Venmo and PayPal Credit that have their own hundreds of millions of users. Almost 65% of adults have PayPal, and almost 50% have abandoned a transaction because PayPal wasn't available. And I myself, again, not a Gen Zer or Xer or millennial, but I find myself on a retail site, if there's not an easy way to check out without me running to my car to get my purse or without me having to remember my CVV, I do abandon it because, as we all know, there's 5 ways to buy something. If my son wants that special toy, I can go to Walmart, Target, I can go to even Walgreens, Amazon, I can go to all these different places. And the one that wins is the one with the easiest checkout experience. That's proven. And so why hold that just in the private sector? Let's move that over into the public sector and the utility world. And that's why you see a lot of vendors adding these buttons, the PayPal button, the Venmo button, and then the PayPal credit button. And the PayPal credit button is the one that is also very, very well used in this space, where someone can pay with PayPal credit and get some financial flexibility. It also gives them a tremendous amount of rewards, and they have a reusable line of credit with 0% interest for 6 months. So those collections, those past due utility bills, all of those are able to be assisted and helped, again, with PayPal credit, and again, for the end user to maybe not have to talk to a representative to hear that they're behind and they need to set up plans. If we look at the next screen.
A quick question for you here, Nicole,
Yeah.
from one of our participants here. So if they are a registered customer with Paymentus already, do they get this out of the box? Do they need to just ask you to add these features and functionality to their portal? Can you briefly run through what needs to be done to get these added features in for them,
Absolutely.
please,
So
into the utility?
one, you can either reach out to me, or two, you can reach out to your account manager. We went through a series of onboarding for our current clients over a year and a half ago. And sometimes those emails that were saying, hey, we're onboarding you and would love for you to use this service, we found that a few of them got lost or thrown in the trash. And so if you don't have these features today, they're very easy to enable. It actually requires no effort on your side. We're using the exact same integration that we already have for web and IVR. And all we're doing is then enabling them with PayPal or with Amazon directly. So it's a pretty easy process. We try to always onboard everybody with as many of these features as possible. And sometimes who you work with isn't necessarily meaning who we sold to or who signed off on our contract, is who implements. So we're going back and always trying to make sure that everyone in the community knows that it's our customer, that we have all these options available for them. Good question. Let's skip the next slide, Kathy, and go to the one after that. So you heard me mention super app, and Amazon's ready to become a super app. A super app means that you have critical functionality that customers use in their daily lives. It's sort of, like the Heisman Trophy of applications. And there's only a dozen or so super apps in the world. So PayPal did establish a super app status. Amazon's trying like heck to get there too. And what it really does mean is that you can go to your PayPal app, and I'm in mine about every other day, between allowances and babysitters and paying the dog groomer and whatever it is that's going on, or I split dinner with somebody, is I'm traversing and sending money back and forth, and I need a way to manage that. And so again, if you are making payments with the PayPal button, as we just talked about, there's a reporting mechanism in these applications that I can see that, and I can have issues with it or not have issues with it. And I can look at my history and activity. So when PayPal, they've decided to expand into every avenue you can think of. And if you haven't opened your PayPal app in a while, open it up and you're going to see it's changed drastically. You can make donations through it. And there's a little button that says, as you see in the middle, bills. And you can add, this is a little different than Amazon. Amazon only has Paymentus billers on there. The PayPal app has every biller in the United States on there. So what that means is if even you don't work with Paymentus today, you actually can have some of these features, but they do pass through Paymentus. They pass through a product we have called the Instant Payment Network that PayPal bought in order to now display any bill to anyone, anywhere on this one single application. So now they can go in and pay their Verizon bill, they can pay their babysitter, they can pay their car payment, and they can link their utility account and pay that in a single payment, in a single interface. So this was very, very powerful, because as you're trying to compete for funds, and what I mean by that is any biller that can get to the consumer faster and remind them that they owe money gets their payments paid faster. It's just natural selection, essentially, by consumers of where they're going to spend their dollars. And I think most of us feel like utility payments are mission critical. I need water, I need electricity, but we all know that list of people that say, no, I don't. I can go a month and not pay it. You didn't make it easy for me to pay. They'll always find ways not to pay. So again, being able to assimilate it, put you in the same level as like a Verizon or a giant mortgage company, so that your bills are being populated to that end user's wallet and PayPal to remind them they owe that too. That is what drives you faster days sales outstanding, so that you get your money faster, you get your payments faster, and we dropped it right at their doorstep again. We didn't need them to come straight into the user interface. You have a lot of customers, though, that will want to come to the user interface, or if they need more, like they want to go paperless or they want to look at history, they need to be in that user interface. So this double coin, this double-sided coin, only benefits each individual equally, the consumer, the utility, and of course, the biller itself. And I'm sorry, I think I saw a question pop up, Ram, if you want to share that with me.
Absolutely. So if if they understand it correctly, the client will choose Paymentus from their Amazon app or PayPal app. Is that correct there, Nicole?
They won't. So PayPal and Amazon only use Paymentus as their bill planning and bill paying experiences. We're the only vendor that they're utilizing this with, and we have exclusivity to that. So the end customer has no idea it's Paymentus behind the scenes. They never even see it. All they see is that they just paid a bill with PayPal, and all you all see as utilities is that Paymentus took a payment for you. So they don't need to choose anything. We're trying to minimize downloads, activations, having to sign in, having to choose a vendor. Nope, they just put in, Hartford County utility bill, and PayPal pre-populates everything into their app, their wallet, and they get reminders and make a payment, and you guys see the payment immediately. So let's go to the next slide. And similar to, multiple ways we work with PayPal and Amazon as well, I wanted to show you a few screens. So here you see the screens. This is on your PayPal app, which is not, you can access PayPal from your PC, and you can do this from your PC, but it's still called an app. Where Amazon's different. Amazon's shopping app is not accessible from a PC. It's a totally different web system called Amazon.com. That's something coming in the future, our hope is. But PayPal's a little different. So I can be on my computer and access PayPal and handle all of these things, or I can also do this on the app. But it's very simple. They click on the bill portion. They search for a company to pay. And so they would search for XYZ utility, and it would bring up their balance, and it would bring up when it's due. And then they simply choose pay. And they can pay it as a standalone payment. They can pay it alongside other payments that they owe, like my cable bill or my mortgage or that babysitter. They can do that at their leisure. But it's the first time that non-utility payments and utility payments are combined together in an application that drops it at that consumer's doorstep. And let's go to the next screen and talk about all the ways that Paymentus then works with PayPal, because this is, again, extremely unique. And it's one of the reasons that, we really try to spend a lot of time educating our clients and our certainly the market that, we feel really great about the SilverBlaze product and the self-service it offers. But again, we got to address this other demographic that's capping our adoption ceilings. And that is those that want it simple and in the places they already live. So this is another view of the same experience where they open the PayPal app and select pay your first bill, which sets them up. They find the biller, as I mentioned, and then they're able to track those due dates and bills at a glance. Now, at any point, they can make a payment of $50, go then over to the web solution or the IVR solution, and because it's all passing through Paymentus, we already have that $50. We already know, and the customer already sees that that $50 was taken, because everything is real time and everything is based off that single API. So we have, let's go to the next slide real quick, and I'll show you some of the benefit statements real quick. So you guys can get paid faster and more often. And as we mentioned, customers have more ways to pay with fewer steps. And then if we go to the next slide, you've got customers and billers benefit from all these features. This is the same list as Amazon, where paying multiple billers, making one-time and recurring, managed biller provided features and receiving notifications. So you can see that the more we extend and expand the Paymentus platform, the more you all are addressing this demographic, this untapped demographic that drives adoption up and handles both sides of this coin. So I want to stop for a second. And Kathy, we can just stop on the Powering Billers platform slide and just see if there's any questions of what we talked about. I wanted to share, not only that you can have this today, and it's in production with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billers, but why we built it, why we said having just an EVPP solution isn't enough. Being a payment provider with these buttons of PayPal, PayPal Credit, and Venmo, it isn't enough. You have to find ways to notify and communicate and allow consumers to pay right where they are every single day, including walking into Walmart and making a payment. So we'll talk about that just for a second, and then we'll take a bunch of questions if there are any. But that was another extension of the Paymentus platform, as we said, how do we serve the underbanked and the cash preferred? We have some ways to do that through PayPal with digitizing cash. But we also said, Walmart, we'd love to work with you. They said, absolutely. We'll give you access to every location in the United States, that anyone can walk into any Walmart and make a payment on their utility account, even if it's in a different state. It's a mom making a payment for a college kid across the country. They can use debit or cash, and it goes through the same instant payment network. It posting real time, accessing the data as if they were right there in front of you in a CSR. But again, it's extending it to where the consumer is, which is in many cases inside Walmart shopping, or inside Walmart's cash center getting money orders and sending money out and having to pay bills. So we integrated this piece in as well. Any questions that we have that have come up, guys, that we can address?
I don't see any on the chat, but anyone else on the line here have any questions for Nicole? Feel free to unmute yourself, throw out any questions.
And then while we're doing that, Ram, we'll hand it over to you to talk about, again, that critically important other side of the coin, which is when they come to you. When they come to you and they want to make a payment through the web, how do you evolve that to getting payments faster?
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nicole. So if we go on to the next slide here, Kathy, thanks so much. So again, like Nicole said, the other side of the coin truly is customers that are navigating to your website, your corporate website, trying to find a means to get access to their account, looking at historical data on their account, the utility account or accounts, and being able to pay these accounts off with a single transaction. So NorthStar has actually purchased a company called SilverBlaze, who truly focus on web engagement, customer self-engagement portals for utilities. SilverBlaze is not new to the game here. They've actually been around for more than 20 years in that business. So they have decades of experience in the integration platform and also the innovation platform. So integration linking to Paymentus, being able to transfer data real time and obtaining payment data as these transactions are actually being done, whether it's through Amazon, whether it's through PayPal, or like Nicole said, whether a customer walks into a Walmart and making that payment, cash payment, and being able to accept these payments real time through these channels and updating NorthStar and flagging these accounts with a pending payment transaction are crucial to your business, because you know and we know when that payment comes in, customers truly want them reflected, updated in or on their account. SilverBlaze actually has two sides or two offerings that we have. One is the web engagement portal, or the customer self-service portal, that allow utility customers and utility CSRs to log into accounts, looking at transaction history, being able to make online payments, being able to look at smart meter data, being able to submit service requests. And then we've actually got another component or another offering we call smart forms. The smart forms truly were designed to help utilities facilitate manual processes that you currently do day in and day out at the utility. So if we can actually build a workflow around these manual processes, we're trying to free up your CSR's time from having to deal with customers for repeatedly asking the same processes or completing the same processes, such as a move-in request. If we can actually build a move-in process, an external move-in process, link it to your SilverBlaze platform, anyone that's looking to move into your utility or into your service territory, they can actually go onto your main website and have that user walk through step by step by step, almost like it's an app, where they click on next, and we are asking them for the information and data that you would have normally asked if they were to walk in through the front door, making any part of that data capture fields mandatory, and any field or fields that you feel are optional, we can make them optional, being able to capture documents as they're being uploaded, bringing them back into either eDocs or your document management system so they could be reviewed by your internal staff members. So if we were to go on to the next slide there, Kathy. So why would you decide to go with SilverBlaze? We are truly a highly experienced team. We have a number of implementations, and we'll actually see in one of the next slides here how many successful implementations we have. We have customers across the board in the US, Canada, and the Caribbean. Again, like I said before, we actually have full integration engine that integrate with not only payment providers, we integrate with smart meter data. We link to your InfoSend. We link to FileNexus. We link to DataVoice for any of your outage management notifications that your customers truly want to receive when they experience some sort of outage or wish to report outages. It's all built right into the platform itself. We just go on to the next slide there, Kathy, please. Just a few icons of utilities or images of utilities that we've had really good, successful, happy implementations with across the board here. Some of them NorthStar customers, some of them non-NorthStar customers, but we do want to let you know that these are just a few, but there are many, many more across the US, Canada, and the Caribbean. And if we just go on to the next slide there, Kathy, please. So just to kind of wrap up the slide portion of it here. So SilverBlaze has been successfully deployed to over 50 utilities. We have well over 4 million customers, utility customers, that are accessing the portal throughout the year. So they're actually logging into their account on a daily basis, monthly basis, trying to get the data, the list of transactions, being able to make payments online. And we have SilverBlaze operating in more than 10 countries as of today. Any questions on the SilverBlaze platform here, guys? Seeing none, I'd just like to bring up the application for you, just so that you guys can see what the platform looks like. I've got about 9 minutes here. I'm just gonna take control here. Hopefully you all can see my screen. Kathy, Nicole, somebody, can you see my SilverBlaze platform here?
Yes, I can see it.
Awesome. So what I have for you, this is standard out of the box SilverBlaze offering or installation that NorthStar will do, but based on the default out of the box installation, we will work with your team, with your IT folks, with your customer service team to truly cater and configure the application to make it look and feel like it's your own, using the color scheme, using background images, using icons, using links that are truly important for you, that you wish and want your customer base to see. So we'll actually work with you in configuring the out-of-the-box solution to truly making it look and feel like it's your own and what you want your customers to see at the end of the day. SilverBlaze is segregated or split into different widgets, we like to call it, truly helping users navigate through the system. So being able to sign up for service, sign up for an online account, being able to truly walk them through a self-serve registration process, helping them navigate through what the requirements are, truly helping them with tooltips as they, or if they run into any questions, concerns along the way here. Being able to capture paperless billing, email consent are all out of the box offering from the application itself. Being able to use CAPTCHA capabilities to ensure we are dealing with a true human being and not scripts and bots that are running behind the scenes that are creating hundreds, thousands of logins on your utility accounts. Back on our main page here, those customers that are coming onto your website, we truly want to make it as flexible, as easy as possible to make payments, because some customers are truly coming on to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to make a payment. We've leveraged a quick pay feature for these customers. So if we do deploy this as a true native app on an Apple device, on a Google device, they can actually tap this little quick pay feature where we prompt them, ask them for 2 pieces of information, their account number and the last name on the account. Once they provide that information, click on Find My Bill. SilverBlaze goes out to NorthStar. We pull out historical data on that account, the name, the address, balances that are on the account. And as a utility, you can pick and choose how many transactions you would like your customers to see directly through the web portal, directly through the app. On the right-hand side of the application, making it easy for the users to tap on that drop-down box and seeing different options, being able to pay their past due amount, being able to pay a balance, or saying, you know what, I do not have sufficient money in my account, so let me just pay a portion of that dollar amount. And being able to enter in the email address, and SilverBlaze has out of the box a tight single sign-on integration with Paymentus, where we take that user right out to Paymentus, we sign them in, and now we start seeing the number of different payment methods that you have enabled from within Paymentus. E-check, debit card, credit card, PayPal, PayPal credit, Venmo, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, Apple Pay, you name it, all various numerous payment methods that you have elected and selected to go with from Paymentus. It's all displayed for your customer base and your customers to see. Customers can go through this page, picking and choosing their payment method, being able to input that data and truly going through the processing, capturing and processing of that payment. With the SilverBlaze platform and with their integration to Paymentus, any customers that you are looking to prevent online payments for, any type of payment methods, say debit card, credit card, you can now suppress these options on certain accounts where you've had one too many fraudulent activity on, one too many bounced checks on. You could pick and choose which of these payment methods are you looking to suppress through the web engagement portal, and SilverBlaze and Paymentus will actually suppress it just for those customers that you have told us to suppress. And all of the other customer base will have options to pick and choose from any and all of the payment methods that you have enabled through your web engagement portal. As soon as that payment goes through, Paymentus will capture that payment, and we as NorthStar are notified right away of that successful payment. We receive it, we update the account with the pending payment status on that account. If that account has a pending disconnect on it, meaning that there's a disconnect order, your field reps are on the way to that premise. If sufficient payment has been made, we will automatically void that call, so that account is no longer or will not be disconnected. If that account has been disconnected already, and we have a completed disconnected service order on that account, and then the customer makes sufficient payment, we could automatically issue the reconnect order on the fly. Logging into the portal itself, once we log in, again, we get authenticated, we're brought to a dashboard. Again, the use of widgets showing you account details, being able to look at current bills, comparing that to your prior month's bill, and seeing month after month what your bill looks like. Are you using more? Are you using less? Considering the number of days that each and every billing cycle contained. So to answer your customers' questions, to say, why is my current month bill a little higher than the previous month bill? So we're trying to help your users understand, maybe, just maybe, the number of days changed. Being able to see at a quick glance the recent 5 transactions that were posted to their account. If you do have smart meter data, being able to link to either your AMI, MDM vendor to pull data, looking at historical, current, and based on your historical data, being able to predict what your current month's bill is going to look like. On the bottom of the screen, having customers submit any suggestions, any comments, any feedback that they feel should be heard, can be heard. We welcome them, we receive it, we let your IT department know, here's what's coming in, here's who's submitting it, here's a date and time they submitted that request, and we also welcome a rating out of 5. Those utilities that currently have smart meters, only those accounts that have smart meters, dynamically that smart meter link would be enabled. that will allow customers to click on that smart meter icon, being able to pull data real time from your AMI or MDM vendor. One-stop shop to make payments, looking at your smart meter data, and we'll actually see where bills can be retrieved very shortly here. Pulling data for any date range that you have specified. If you have time of use enabled, we actually break it out into your different time of use buckets, your different tiered buckets, being able to zoom in on any number of days. And we have weather overlay, temperature, humidity, precipitation, heating and cooling days. Again, trying to educate your customers in stating why their current month bill might be a little different from the previous month bill. Being able to drill down on a specific date and seeing the different price points, on peak, off peak, mid peak, or if it's tiered when they shifted from tier 1 to tier 2. Being able to download the data to either a commonly used spreadsheet or the widely accepted green button formats are all standard offering from the SilverBlaze platform. The last piece I did want to show you is under the bills and payment option here, where customers can come in, click on the bills and payment, and look at their billing history, when they were billed, date of the billing transaction, dollar amount, and their due date. The very first column on the screen is the view bill option that will allow customers to click on that view bill and retrieve an exact PDF version of the bill that was printed, posted, archived on their account. Kathy, can you see that PDF bill that just popped up here?
There it goes. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So it is, again, it can be archived directly on the NorthStar server. It can be archived with a third-party vendor such as InfoSend, stored up with Paymentus, stored with FileNexus. We will pull an exact copy of the bill and display it for the users to see. Once they have had a chance to look at the bill, understand their bill, they can move on to making a payment online, where the minute they click on that pay my bill, we take them right into Paymentus. No additional login required. We take that account, we perform a single sign-on directly into Paymentus, showing all of the digital wallets that have been set up with Paymentus. You can have 1, you can have 10, you can have 20 different digital wallet entries. We display all of those entries for a quick selection, quick payment option, or picking and choosing from a number of different payment methods that, again, you have enabled with Paymentus and you have indicated through NorthStar that the customer can pick and choose from. Also on this page here, customers can sign up for Autopay to be truly PCI compliant. You can have customers enter their banking, their credit card information directly through SilverBlaze that is captured, stored, maintained by Paymentus. So you know that both SilverBlaze and the utility is not transmitting or capturing any part of that data. Because we're single signed onto Paymentus and it's their portion of the portal that is capturing this data, we are at no point in time transmitting that data across the internet. It is being captured by Paymentus, it is being stored by Paymentus, and in turn, Paymentus will send us a token, and that is the token that gets stored in NorthStar, and that account flagged as truly ACH or PAP. At any point in time, customers can come in, maintain, manage their wallet, digital wallet, adding, removing any of their payment options that they have enabled. Or the very last item I did want to point out is the text to pay, which is becoming very, very hot commodity, hot topic these days among utilities and utility users, is the ability for your customers to come in and roll for notifications, being able to receive text notifications and being able to pay through their text, responding back to text messaging and being able to pay directly through means and methods that they have set up within their digital wallet. Just by replying back with a yes or a P for payment, Paymentus is able to deduct or subtract that money from their account, intended account, and update NorthStar real time for the balance that's owed on that account. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Kathy for some closing remarks.
So now it's your turn. What questions do you have for us? Please feel free to shout them out or ask your questions in the chat. Nicole, I have a question for you. I know you work with more than just utilities. What trends can utilities expect based on what you're seeing in other industries?
Sure. So we do work with full city functions, full county functions, including combined portals where they're servicing all those payment types in a single solution. We also work in auto and finance and insurance and mortgage. And what we're seeing is a trend consistent is this double-sided coin. Everyone's looking for a smarter way to bring bills and billing and information direct to consumer because they know that they'll pay faster when it's so readily accessible. You think about the billers that are out there, reminding people payments are due and trying to communicate. And then it really kind of puts it on the consumer to pick a path. Am I going to use Alexa? Am I going to use IVR? Am I going to go to my bank and make a payment through my bank? And what we're seeing is that billers are looking for ways for people to make payments that bring that funding or that DSO in faster. And they recognize very savvily, that's a word, that having them go to their bank isn't one of them. Waiting for a lockbox file, aggregating data from banking and biller sites. And so what you're going to see very quickly are even your mortgage companies and your auto finance companies, your doctor bills and healthcare. All of them are trying to find smarter ways to do what actually we've already done for utilities. And so for one of the first times, we're actually seeing utilities drive some of the change in the other verticals too, because no one solved that consumer wants it in their doorstep or in their app problem. In fact, the first payments or bill planner and bill payments going through Amazon PayPal are only for utilities. And then we extended it to other divisions and other entities. So you can pay a tax or a mortgage. So you guys are actually at the forefront. And now the other verticals are recognizing that, okay, well, wait a minute. If they're going to these apps and they're going to go to them more and more over time, and they're going to pay their utility bill 12 times a year, more than likely, or 4 times if it's quarterly, then why don't we piggyback on that notification? And so they want to be alongside you all. They want to leverage the amount of communication you have with your consumers, which is really more than any other biller out there. So it's something that we're seeing as what we call a network effect. You can think of it a lot like Facebook in a way. You get 10 users on, those 10 users tell their 10 friends, you get 100 users on. And this is the same thing. The more that you adopt and embrace this two-sided coin, the more people embrace it as far as billers, the more consumers that use it, the more biller types come on, everybody starts to see the benefit of this network effect.
And so in addition to the network effect, how is that helping drive collections?
Well, if you can do creative ways to remind them that their payments are due, if you can urge them through new creative ways that their payment was already past due and that there are consequences to that, and that you have more ways to pay and flexibility of payment options such as cash or PayPal credit, or that you take new payment methods that they haven't taken before, like their PayPal. I mean, I think it's an interesting fact that most PayPal users keep $250 in digitized cash in their wallet. And I looked at mine this morning because I was actually reimbursing a friend of mine for brunch. And sure enough, I had $271 as people are paying me and I'm paying them. And so, not every time someone can't pay a bill is it because they forgot or because they didn't have funds. Sometimes they just choose not to pay it because it's not convenient. and they know they have a month, maybe two. And so you just have to try to hit them with more urgency. And the way to do that is to go right where they are, make it very noticeable, and make it easy.
Okay, so do we have any other questions for Ram or for Nicole?